Hello, and welcome to the online course, Leveraging Technology for Decision Making. My name is JJ Widener. I'll be your instructor for this course. I'm excited to assist you on this journey of learning how technology plays a pivotal role for many business decisions. Technology can be in the aspect of looking at data. Data can be gathered using surveys, collecting information from customers or employees on websites that goes into a database, and then taking that data, and we live in the big data era, so there's a lot of data out there, but how do we look at that data? How do we leverage that data for making business decisions? And that ultimately is a big market, and being able to do it effectively can make you very employable. It can help progress your career. Data scientists use a lot of technology to assist organizations with better understanding the data, how best they can help their customers, how they can sell services. Of course, scientists use it to understand if they're collecting data on a certain study for patients, they can collect all that data and then use technology to make sense of the data. So there's 100,000 different ways we could take this course, and we could look at that. So first, we're going to start at a high level and understand what is the decision-making process. How do we frame the right questions to start basing our I would say our data gathering, or what technology we're going to use to make those business decisions. So we have to start with a good question first. So how do you ask a good question? What's the business problem? Defining the business problem, gathering the requirements for the problem. Is it a persistent problem? Is it a new problem? Is it a future problem that we're trying to predict? So there's a lot of ways that the information and the technology can help us understand those business problems and help frame the decisions we need to make based on the data we have, or or where we see the technology going. So starting off, we'll dig into what I would perceive to be the logical process behind decision making. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll kind of go through just a basic decision tree that we have to think about. I pulled this up online because I don't have a current textbook. So in light of this video, this is using the resources that I could find online. So, this is a basic decision-making tree. This could look different for each organization or for each institution. But starting out, as you see, the very top one was, what is our problem? We have to identify the problem before we can use the technology to help us make a decision. Because without a problem, what decision are we going to make? We need to understand what question are we trying to answer? Usually that question is surrounded by, what problem is this going to fix? So we have to really understand what questions we need to ask, what that decision-making process is. And then we can go down and look at solutions. What are our ideas on how we are going to approach this problem? Is that a technology solution? Is it, are we looking at gathering more data to help us frame our idea on how we could tackle the problem? So there's a lot of different solutions you can come up with to every problem. I would say there's probably a lot more ideas, and there's a lot of ideas out there to try to solve problems. So, and then we go down after we have our solution in mind, and we have the technology in place to help us make the frame our idea and frame how we are going to solve this problem. And then we would have to make our decision. And then we can use technology, whatever it may be, if we're looking at reports generated from data that we've gathered using tools like Power BI or Tableau for reporting. There's a lot of different tools out there that we can use to gather data and put data into a sensible format so we can understand it and comprehend the data. And then once we have that data and we're able to look at it to be able to make a decision on, then we go through and then how are we going to implement that decision that we've made from the data we've collected and from the technology that we have in place to either continually relook at the problem, because problems morph and they change. So we need to be able to be adaptive to our solutions and be adaptive with our decisions. And usually the best way to be adaptive is having that data-driven mentality of, if we have the data, if we're able to measure it somehow, and we have the technology in place to continue measuring it, that we then are able to adapt and be very mobile with our decision making, be very adaptable and quick with our decisions. So with an overview of the decision-making process and getting started in this first week, we'll look at that decision-making process. We'll look at defining the problem. How do we come up with ideas or solutions to the problem? So with those ideas and solutions, we need to dig into a little bit about what solutions are out there, what technology exists to help us with business problems. And then how do you go from what idea you have or technology you want to implement, but how do we frame our decisions with that technology? And then how do we actually implement that technology to help the business? So this is a brief overview of week one. There'll be some assignments this week that will need to be completed. First, to help us, there's going to be a semester-long project or a course-long project that we're going to go through, and we're going to find ways, identify problems that we see out in the real business world. And once we have those problems identified, we're going to explore ways that we can come up with a technology that we can implement that will help us solve whatever problem we identify. So a problem identification will be one step of the course project. Of course, we'll have to put you in teams. In one of the assignments of week one, I'm going to have everyone take a grit test so I can understand how gritty some of you are in the course. So I can pair up maybe some of those that are less gritty with some that are more gritty, and that's one way that I'm going to leverage technology to make a business decision. So I'm going to use the information that I gathered with the grit assessment tool, and I'm going to group you according to the best decision I can make given the technology and the data that I have. So it's a little bit of an implementation of using the knowledge and the skills and some of the goals that we want to have with this course to make sure we can base those decisions on data. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And again, I want to welcome you to the course, and I'm thankful that I get to be your instructor. And always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the material, questions about what I'm discussing in these videos, or about the book. Please just feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. It's very nice meeting all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful course. I'll be posting these videos at least once a week, and there will be some assignments over material in the video, and there also might be questions from the video on any assessments that we take or any quizzes or tests. So the expectation is that you're going to watch these videos and let me know if you have any questions about them. I hope you have a great day, and good luck this semester. Thanks. Bye.